Belgium is a pretty interesting country, but its capital, Brucel, is one of the worst cities in Europe. And now I'll explain why. Before starting the video, I want to say that all people are equal and the same. Criticism is directed only towards a particular group of people in the video, and not the entire ethnic group or nationality. I have studied many areas of Brussels. He's terrible, and all the ghettos shown in the video are 10 minutes away from the center on foot. This should not be the case in any normal city, especially in such accessibility for residents and guests. What do all kinds of travel programs talk about when they talk about Brussels? About French fries, about waffles, about seafood? Forget this nonsense. This is not Brussels. It is a small, historically showcased city center for tourists. The real Brussels is different. According to 2016 data, 7% of Muslims in Belgium. Considering how many years have passed, I think there are already twice as many of them. A political lobby is already emerging, including the Islam Party, which advocates the introduction of Sharia law in Belgium. Look at what a cool, clean, well-maintained train station. I suggest we go a little bit to another sector of the same station, one floor below. Something incredible is happening. Hundreds of migrants are sleeping on cardboard. It is impossible to breathe. The police are arresting someone. Migrants are fighting among themselves. Rats are running around the streets. It's an eerie sight. Absolutely, the whole city is strewn with these blocks. There are many of them. They are everywhere. Barricades are needed so that cars do not enter the crowd and to protect against riots. However, I think this is a poor defense. Whoever wants to do something, he will do it despite the block. The function of protecting the population should not be performed by barricades inside the city, but by a sound migration policy. But let's start with the good news first. It's amazing, but there is such a thing in this city. Brussels is very rich in architecture. There is a lot of it here. It is very different. The reason for this is the past of Belgium, which became independent in principle not so long ago. But the French and Dutch footprint is especially strong. The city is beautiful, and it's such a shame for such a beautiful city. There's an incredible story here. At the same time, everything is absolutely in different styles, but it fits very well. There's a lot to see in the city, and if you do not go to special areas, then the city can leave good impressions. But once you get on the subway, what a horror begins. Dirty facades are spat on everywhere, chewing gum, garbage, a huge amount of garbage on the street. The further away from the center, the worse it gets. Dirt, graffiti, garbage. What are they doing to the facades? It is simply impossible to look at these facades without tears. They were messed up. From the point of view of administrative division, Belgium is a very difficult country. Also, do not forget that Brussels is also the capital of the European Union. By the way, the European Parliament building itself is gigantic. This is a huge complex of buildings. Brussels is littered with migrants at night. They drink, they shout at you, they can even attack you. Anxiety is the feeling that constantly haunts you in this city when you leave the center. It's hard to feel safe in this city. Tourists come here. They walk along the clean, tidy streets, but they do not know the real Europe. We just need to get a little bit away from the city. The leftist government is making a huge mistake by not making efforts to integrate migrants into European culture. This is the so-called tolerance. We accept your culture. The problem is that they don't accept your culture. There is a problem for two sides here. Migrants cannot get along in European society. They create the cultural field from which they left. Ghettos are formed, which you have just seen. Locals can't get along because there is no common language of communication. When you walk through these areas, you begin to wonder how the contrast between the environment and society is here. The people who live there, I don't want to offend anyone. I take specific people taking videos. They don't quite correspond to the level. That is, the environment in which they live. The migrants dragged the entire market they had escaped from here. And the more of them come here, the fewer of their relatives will want to come here. There is no desire to live in Brussels. What's the point of going there?